Welcome back to the shop. My name's Steve, and today we're going to tackle something that I've never done. We've got a violin where the neck has come separated from the body, but it's still holding on. It's still wiggling on, kind of like a loose tooth. There's something down inside of there that is causing a problem where it's not breaking loose. The back button has actually broken off in this violin, and I know that something is holding on there. So if whatever's holding on there was strong enough to actually crack this back button, I know that just applying pressure to this neck to get it to come out isn't going to be enough. It wiggles a lot, but I need to apply heat. The problem is, I can tell from the way that this is wobbling back and forth that spot that I need to apply heat is way down inside that neck collar where that neck slides into the body. And so I need to apply heat and get heat down to that. Well, I've got an idea on how to get that done. This is an electric tool that's used to cut foam. So this wand here heats up and you can use it to actually cut out new pieces of foam. Well, I'm going to use it as a heat sink. I actually want to install this down inside the neck down here in order to probe and put heat down where I need to. So that point that is wobbling is right in underneath here. So if I can get this probe down in that, I can actually apply a bunch of heat on this. Now the problem is I don't know if it's on this side or on this side that it's holding. So I'm actually going to install two probes on both sides to add the heat that I feel like I need in this area to melt that glue. Remember, high glue will break for two reasons. One, pressure, and two, heat. And so if I can get this thing to warm up and move out of the way, I feel like I can get this neck out of there safely, and then I can clean it all up, figure out what's going on, fix the back button, and put all this thing back together, and hopefully you never even know I was there. The downside is I need to install a hole on both sides. Well, if I do that right in the purfling, so right where this purfling rolls around, if I drop a hole right in that spot there, that's my best chance of hiding that I was ever here. I could come in on the back, but the back is already cracked and broken, and I don't love that idea. I actually think it will hide more, surprisingly, in plain sight up here on the top than it will even on the back. So we need to drill that in. Now the problem is this is a 1/16 size hole, and most 16th size drill bits are only this big. So if I were to chuck this up into a drill and come up here, I've only got about this much depth into it. And that's not enough. I need to get clear down here. Well, they do make longer drill bits like this, only they are really long. This whole thing is the drill bit that I'm going to use, and this one is made by Irwin. It's a 1/16 size or 1.6 millimeter drill bit. And the fact that somebody can actually manufacture this, I think is awesome. This is threaded up to here, and then it's a solid shaft all the way back. So this is going to give me the depth that I need. I just need to make sure that I don't go too far, so I'm going to mask this off to set a depth stop on this and make sure that I know I'm doing this well and right. So as it turns out, I actually need to clear out a little bit more material out of that hole. So whether the tip of the heat probe is just a smidge bit bigger than the drill bit, or whether we've just got some sawdust down inside there, I need to go back down in there and just kind of clean it up a little bit. I found I needed to modify the tips just a little bit in order to get down inside the hole. Where these are squished down to hold the electrode at the very end, the squished part is sticking out just a little bit too far, so I just file a little bit of that tip off in order to make it easier for these probes to go down inside the hole. So now that we got these probes where they're going to fit, I need to make sure that it's not just heat, but I also want to use steam. So I'm going to drip a little bit of water down inside there, drop these probes in, and then plug them in and get them heated up. That way I can see when we're at temperature, because that water will start to boil and steam just a little bit. And then I can wait just another couple minutes and get this plenty warm to where that will hopefully push itself out. Well, this hasn't taken long, but I can already start to see the water boiling on the edges here, which means the probes are definitely getting warm. And mind you, I want to be really careful because I don't want to pop this out and have these probes fall out of here on me, because those wands are hot. Voila. Now we can get a really good shot down inside this mortise and start to see just what went wrong here. All in all, I think the mortise is cut pretty well. You can definitely see where the back is broken here. It's cut up along it. Well, now it's time to start cleaning this up and cleaning the neck up and getting this to where it will set back in here cleanly and appropriately and get this violin working again. This may be part of a problem. You can see where when the fingerboard was glued on, whoever glued it on didn't clean up the glue that they were putting on. So we've got a run of the glue clear down through here that runs all the way down here to the fingerboard. And in this section here, it is just glopped up and gloppy. So I'm actually going to take the time and clean this up while I've got it off. And then go through and clean the rest of this neck off in order to get a really good clean fit on the mortise here. Well, that came apart a lot nicer than I thought it was going to. I had actually spent quite a bit of time working on that joint, trying to wiggle it back and forth. Kind of like you're pulling a tooth, you know, the little kid says, "No, Dad, don't pull it out, don't pull it out." But when you actually get in there and grab a hold of it, you can get the tooth out. But that was not working in this particular case. So I have been working quite a bit trying to get that out. No luck, had to come up with another idea. I tell you what, this one worked out pretty good. I'm really pleased with how quickly that came apart. The heat did exactly what I was wanting it to, soften that glue just enough to where without any pressure, without any force, I was able to just lift it up out of the space. Now what I've done is I spent a bunch of time getting in there, cleaning that whole mortise up, making sure that everything fits well. And it does seem to fit well. So I'm going to fill in a couple of the gaps that I am worried about, reset that in the mortise, and then we're going to glue everything back together. Now the broken end button, if this was an extremely high-end violin, I would actually remove the end button off of the neck, and I would actually take the back off as well and glue that all back together, graft that in. I'd actually carve from the inside of the back there. I would actually carve out a piece and lay in some new wood to really structure that in and make it nice and solid. But to be honest with you, this instrument doesn't warrant that amount of work. This is a decent instrument, but not the kind of instrument that's going to warrant that amount of work. So we're just going to keep that piece of the end button back on the neck. We're going to glue it back into place. I'm going to glue it in with hide glue and keep that there. That way, if in the future anybody does want to make that repair, it's available to do so. And then I'm going to go in and clean up the purfling that's in there and lay in a new piece of purfling and try to get this cleaned up and looking really, really nice again. But all in all, that part of the repair has worked out great. And I'm really happy with it, and I'm glad that idea worked. Hopefully you get an idea off of this to where when you're working on your own instruments, you can see what it's like. But anytime we're working on new projects like this, I always want to share them with you because sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But when they do, definitely want to high five everybody around, say, dude, that's a great idea, go try it yourself. And if it doesn't, I want to share with you what I learned off of that as well. In this case, we're really lucky, learned lots of good things, and it worked out really well. I hope to see you back in the shop soon. See you next time.